Hi everyone, it's me, Krylios, Team Rayceen Productions MC and producer. And joining me today is the talented Emma G. Welcome to our Team Racing Live. Emma G, welcome, welcome, welcome. It is so great to have you here with us. And I am so happy that you've chosen to join us today. How are you?
Thank you. What an introduction. My goodness. No pressure. I'm wonderful. How are you?
I am doing great. I am doing great. Now you're a musician. Tell me a little bit about your background and how you got started.
Oh my goodness. How long have you got? I'm originally from New Zealand. I was born with a health condition called hydrocephalus,
Hmm.
which meant that I was basically born with a severe, like with a cyst in the middle of my brain, which
Hmm.
meant that I had to have my first brain surgery at the age of 4 months.
Wow.
Um, since then, I've had 24 surgeries. Um, and, when you're a child growing up with a massive health condition that make your friends call you Frankenstein,
Mm.
it's kind of, I don't know, music understands me. I'm just going to go over here and write some songs, and maybe that's how I can deal with my crap. So yeah, that's how I sort of started writing music,
Yeah.
and I just always loved performing, love the connection with people. Moved to the States 5 years ago, and have made DC my home, where I get to connect with other human beings when it comes to just being authentic and celebrating your eunice.
Of course, of course. I love it. Now tell me, what's your favorite thing about DC since living here?
I love the people. I love they're like there's a massive artistic drive and creative drive that sort of drums through the city. Um, but I love beyond that. I love how supportive everybody is of each other. I love how sisters show up for each other. I love how the cult, like there's such a rich culture here that's always changing and evolving, obviously, because it's such a transient city. Um, yeah, but I love the family vibe. As weird as that sounds, like everyone thinks of DC as like the political place. Like
Yes,
actually,
yes.
there's a lot of love here. There's a lot of
Yes,
love.
yes. People actually living in DC and what we see on TV, just Congress and the White House, like that's DC. Like girl, that's hardly DC.
Yeah.
Okay, now tell me about your music. Which artists inspire you? Which musical artists inspire you?
It's
Inspire your
changing.
music?
It's changing all the time. I was raised listening to Muddy Waters and Sweet Honey in the
Hmm.
Rock. Then the Spice Girls came out, and that changed my life upside down and inside out. And
Hmm.
then I got into, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Eminem,
Hmm.
um,
Ah.
Ludacris.
Hmm.
And then from there, I got into the likes of Iron Maiden, Metallica.
Hmm.
So the only thing I haven't really flowed with, I guess, has been like country music.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, really, I've been to a couple of opera, like all kinds of music have inspired me in some way, shape, or form. Um, I now gravitate more towards sort of pink with a little bit of Bishop Briggs, with
Ah.
some like Tracy Chapman, with
Yes,
some
okay. So I was going to ask because I was listening and watching a lot of your videos and listening to a lot of your songs. And it was that's why I asked as well. And so hearing like Pink, Tracy Chapman, stuff like that, and because I can see those influences. One of your songs, it was giving me very Alanis Morissette as well. It was giving
I
very
mean, Jagged Little Pill
that.
was my
Yeah.
anthem, my anthemic album growing up. Let's be real.
Yes. I love it. And bringing things around to contemporary time and current issues. I think one of your songs more than any is very prescient in this moment, and that's Superhero, which is, it was filmed right here in the DMV, right in DC, and
Yeah.
it fully really explores, systemic racism.
Mhm.
Now, tell me about that for you, and using your music to shine a light on issues like these in our community.
It's funny. Superhero, I didn't I didn't realize how relevant it would continue to become. Um, the story behind that song, I was new to the States. I had just recently moved to DC, um, and learning about what it is to be viewed as a Black person,
Hmm.
because in New Zealand, I'm a brown person, and we have three official languages, one of which is Maori, which is the
Hmm.
indigenous language. So just like very different way of growing up. Um, so, anyways, I was in Colorado with a girlfriend of mine from New Zealand who was light and brighter, and we were in this town for like I don't know, 5 days or something, and I was like itching to get a tattoo, in remembrance of my brother who passed away in 2008, and upon getting this tattoo, it was a bit of an experience, sorry, because the guy who was the head tattoo artist was on probation for trying to kill somebody. Um, True story.
Wow. Oh,
The
wow.
reason why the reason why he was on probation and tried to kill that person was because apparently the person he tried to kill had raped his
Ooh,
like niece or daughter or somebody. Um,
intense.
so some like being somebody who has been raped, several times in my life, and dealt with sexual assault multiple times, I kind of was like, well, okay, I'm okay with this,
I'll
whatever.
work with him.
So
Yeah.
so he did this, he did my tattoo for me, and during the conversation he was talking about like what a pain in the ass doing paperwork is, and without even thinking, and this is like, I'm a very masculine dominated person in a lot of ways. So
Mhm.
like I just think without thinking sometimes, quite often. And without thinking, I was like, well, isn't it nice that your biggest issue is paperwork when realistically, if you're a Black man, you'd be dead right now. And he was like, hmm, good point. So we ended up having this beautiful conversation about racial inequality. Trump had just started campaigning for for the election. And
Mhm.
I literally, I mean, I was in Colorado, let's be real. I got home, I had the house to myself, and was like, well, I will just do what people in Colorado do. And I wrote Superhero. I just like it
Uh,
just vomited out of me on paper. So I went back to the tattoo parlor the next day and sang it to all of the staff, and they were all in tears. And I was like, okay, I must be onto something. That's cool. So we ended up having a party at the at the tattoo parlor, and yeah, 2 years later, I joined forces with the UXU agency and the Everyday Weekend to create the Superhero music video. Flightboy Music recorded the song, as he does most of my songs, and here we are, 2020, baby, and
of
thinking, crap,
course.
where are the freaking superheroes right now?
Of course, definitely. And you've continued with this, with this social awareness and social activism with the art that you use and the art that you produce. Tell me about what's happening a little bit later, coming up with your collective when it comes to that.
I'm so excited. Yeah, so 2 years ago in 2018, I established the Capital Groove Collective. Um, a lot of people have been asking me like how I'd gotten so far by myself, and I wanted people to realize that actually I've never been by myself. Not only do I have my ancestors on my shoulders every
Mhm.
single day, but DC, like I said, is full of love, full of like people wanting to help. So I kind of figured, well, wouldn't it be wonderful if every other musician could feel the same amount of support that I do? And the best way to do that is to give support. So we ended up collaborating forces. There's about 12 members of the collective so far, where we just really support each other in terms of assisting with photo shoots, with recording, with, backup vocals, with instrumentation, with whatever it is, songwriting, and tips and tricks on how to build your presence and build a name for yourself and branding and blah, 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 blah. It's great. And one of the greatest things that I think I really found recently was, when the pandemic hit, I looked at the collective one day and was like, oh my God, we're all artists.
Yeah.
Everybody in this collective really gives a truck about social justice. And so I floated the idea, let's write a song in remembrance of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and every other, life that has been
lost. Yeah. That's been taken.
I don't even want to say lost. It's been taken. It's been taken. So, so I resurrected a song that I'd written about an ex-partner of mine, and we totally revamped it to be, same melody, same chords, lyrical content, completely different, and it's just all about digging deep and finding, that love within yourself to show up for each other, to be the light and brighter, or be the, be the ally, be the superhero, whatever it is, however you want to term it. Yeah, so that comes out this Friday on all platforms. The video comes out, and then next Friday I have another sort of social justice song called Slow Motion coming out. That's a solo song, and was completely recorded. I mean, both of these tracks were recorded and produced and filmed while in quarantine. So it's been like a really.
I was just going to ask about that. How has the whole pandemic, the whole quarantine been for you, especially being an artist? What has it like, and how have things changed from March to now?
It's insane. The world's on fire. I think the best thing for me, it's been a blessing and it's been a curse. I was running myself ragged, gigging 5, 6, 7 times a week. So when the pandemic hit and quarantine hit, I was like, oh, you mean I get to sleep? This is great. Like, awesome. I'll take 2. But then of course my income completely dried up. So it's been, and we can't record, we can't gig, we can't whatever. So thankfully what I had done in January is visited Baltimore basically 2 or 3 times a week, and I was recording like all the time, because my plan was to release a single every 6 weeks and throughout 2020, and I am yet to fail. In fact, I've been releasing more music than I had initially planned. So that's been a really interesting sort of experiment, really. I think the biggest things have just been like being really conscious of people's space, being conscious of hygiene, obviously. If you weren't conscious before,
you gotta get, if you weren't conscious before.
Seriously, what the hell? But also just like really, I think it's been a great opportunity for us to show up for each other. I think, the way that America has run for the last how many hundreds of years has been very focused on profits over people. And the pandemic has really given us an opportunity to focus on people over profits. And that's why I haven't stopped making music, because every day I'm getting downloads of like, this is what I need to, it's not like I'm a preacher, don't get me wrong, but like for me, these are the messages that I want people to resonate with, and maybe it'll help somebody, maybe it'll help them feel stronger or more resilient or braver that day, or just like, not giving up. That's really what it's all about. And, for those who have lost people, for those who have found people, I want to be able to cover all of it. So I've been really blessed to be able to work with so many wonderful humans to help me stay the path of music enlightenment.
I love that. And speaking of which, let's start shamelessly plugging some stuff. how can our viewers, find your music, find more information about you, get all your singles as they come out during the year, and even more information on the collective. Tell us all
Right,
about that and
right.
how they can find all this information.
So the best way to get in touch with me is via my website, emmagmusic.com. That's E for Echo, M for Mike, A for Alpha, G for Golf, music, spelled normally. Um, yeah, so, and then all my socials are Emma G Music as well. So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Is that all? Patreon.
Yeah.
Patreon is another way. If people want to get like exclusive behind the scenes access to my music and to what I'm recording and what I'm writing about,
Mhm.
they can support me for as little as $5 a month and get all access to that, which is awesome. And then of course the Capital Groove Collective is everywhere. Capital Groove DC. That's capital with an O, not an A. On all social media or capitalgroovecollective.com.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Emma. And thank you so much for joining us today. This was such a lovely chat. And of course, to our viewers, thank you for watching. Bye,
Thank you so much.
everyone.